Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I'm your host, Elliot Pierre, and we're going to start the show off the same way we do everyone, with gratitude. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. From the bottom of my heart, it means the world to me. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, so the fact that you're spending with us really is special. So thank you. Now, on that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro.
How's she cutting me, loves? You're listening to the Mac City Morning Show.
All right. Now we have my favorite type of guest here today. This is a gentleman that reached out to us, wanted to be on the show. I have no idea who this guy is, so I'm going to have a conversation with him for the first time. And that's kind of why I started this show, to meet new people and tell the story of Fort McMurray. So on that note, as everybody knows, I do not introduce my guests because they can do a better job at it than I. So, sir, can you please tell the world who you are and a little bit about yourself?
Well, great. Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here, and appreciate the gratitude going out. I think that's a good way to start the time here together. So my name is Jay Falcone.
Okay.
I've been in Fort McMurray for 37 years.
Whoa.
So came here when just out of university. Uh, I'm a facilitator for the Multicultural Association of Wood Buffalo, where we teach financial literacy, which we'll talk about a little bit later. I'm also involved with a company called Prospero Financial Solutions Limited, where we teach employees of small and medium-sized companies about financial literacy. And my day job is working at Syncrude. I work in pensions and benefits there, so that's what I do full time.
Okay, so you're a busy dude, to say the least.
Yeah, very busy.
That's awesome. Okay, well, when you reached out to me, you first wanted to talk about financial literacy. So
Sure.
let's just jump into that because this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart in regards to I'm shocked that this topic isn't taught in school. It's
Right.
something that we all need to know, and it seems like the system really isn't geared for us to succeed. You really have to go out and kind of search this information out. So when you messaged me to say, hey, I talk about this stuff, I was super excited to be like, yes, finally, okay, let's chat about it. So let's hear a little bit about this
Sure.
program.
And you bring up a good point. And this is nothing against the education system, but if you think about one skill that we need as adults that we use every day is financial literacy, right? We're making financial decisions every day. We get up in the morning. Am I going to make my lunch? Am I going to buy it? I got to pay a bill. I go shopping, and even though you're buying groceries, it doesn't seem like a consequential decision, but it is a financial decision, right? So and the school doesn't prepare us for that, right?
Right.
And it's kind of funny. I saw this. I was talking to Tanner too, but I saw this cartoon that talked about. I'm so glad I learned about parallelograms because it came really handy this parallelogram season, right?
Yeah.
Why? And I'm not, nothing against the math teachers out there,
Right.
but in addition to the math and the sciences and social study and English, why don't we add financial literacy so we prepare these kids for adulthood, right? And I know some schools are starting to do that, but doing it in grade 11 or 12 and one, let's say a couple of chapters on how to bank and get a credit card doesn't do,
No.
so it doesn't suffice, right? We need to teach kids at the elementary stage, junior high, and high school so that when they get to university, college, whatever they do, they're able to manage money. Right? And if you think about it, kids, they get money from their parents and grandparents at birthdays. They get a job. You're starting to manage money at an early age, but we're not giving those kids skills.
That's right.
Right? So one of the things that we did, a little bit of background on how we started the financial literacy program was that because I work in the oil sand industry, I was asked to go speak to an English for New Canadians class at Keano about how to get a job, how to prepare for an interview, that type of thing. So I talked about that, and then these students were just opening up about, hey, you know what? I'm coming from a different country. It's a new language. It's a new culture, right? It's a new climate. Look at outside, right? Right? And I got to find a job. It's really tough. And on top of that, there's all this financial maze that I got to navigate through. A new banking system, definitely a new income tax system, right? Credit. My credit rating and wherever I came from doesn't matter a hill of beans here, right?
Right.
So I said to myself, I had some friends at the Multicultural Association, and I said, hey, you know what? I think there's a need in the community for these folks. So we put together a level 1 program where we talk about banking, credit, income taxes, investments, insurance, uh, government-sponsored programs. We talk about fraud. And we went out and we started marketing this program, and we'd get a few people coming out, and then slowly we offered it again, and we were getting more people to the point where we're getting 30 people a class
Right.
and a waiting list, right? So we felt that we were meeting a need, and then what we do is that we ask for evaluations at the end of the program, like a lot of courses, and people were saying, you know what, I learned so much, but hey, I want to learn how to pick stocks. I want to get into real estate. I want to learn different things about investments, right? So we developed a level 2.
Okay.
And that program gets more into detail. So really what it does is it expands on level 1 on
Right.
investments. And again, we were getting, 30 people to a class, a waiting list. And what we found was that, Elliot, is that, we weren't just marketing to new Canadians. We were getting Canadians coming out to these programs now because guess what? Canadians aren't as financially literate, even to the point of some new Canadians, right? So, that's how we started the program. We run the program twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring.
Okay.
And it's for 8 to 10 weeks. It's on either a Tuesday night or Thursday night, depending on the level. And, so it's going really well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not surprised with that
Yeah.
at all that it's going well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been shocking to me. We were talking a little bit before the show started. My background is human resources as well.
Yeah.
That's what I did for about 11 years before doing this awesomeness. And yeah, I used to have guys that made a butt ton of money and were living paycheck to paycheck. And they would come in and they'd miss one day, maybe even just a few hours in a day on their timesheet. And they'd forget to hand it in and they'd come running in. Hey, I need this money. I'm like, dude, you just got a check for like $8,000 for like 2 weeks. Like, you missed an hour. I think you'll live. And no, they couldn't. It was shocking to me again and again and again how they just didn't have the skill set, which is crazy.
And it's all about, my dad used to say, it's not about the money you make, it's about the money you keep and how you invest it, right? So,
That's right.
And that's why we hear celebrities, athletes that are, multi-million-dollar contracts that have made millions over the life of their careers, and they're either bankrupt or in financial. So why is that?
Yeah.
It's because they're either, not managing their money right, or they've given it to someone that's not doing that, right? So, what we're trying to do is teach people some skills, financial skills. And, we were just talking about the Canadian financial literacy scene. And, the question always becomes, Elliot, how do you measure financial literacy, right? It's one of
Right.
those things that it's hard to pinpoint, right? But, there's some surveys out there. One's an international survey, and one's a Canadian one that says that 60% of Canadians can answer 5 out of 7 basic questions right. So I thought, okay, well, that's not too bad. But then I said, I want to take the survey.
That's
And
right.
to be honest, I was a bit reluctant because I thought I better pass this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the questions were so basic.
Right.
Right? They were more of common sense questions, like, if your credit card interest is 20% and your line of credit was 3, which one should you pay off? Stuff like that. And I thought to myself, okay, if someone answers those questions right, are they going to have enough skills to get through this financial maze and manage their money? And the answer is no. Right? So we shouldn't be, kind of thinking, well, okay, well, if I can answer those questions, I'm doing pretty good. Because I always tell people, and Tanner, when I get on a plane, do you want that pilot to have just a basic understanding of how to fly that?
Yeah, definitely
No,
not.
I want that person to have experience, knowledge, even if it's from a simulator, if something goes different, right? So we shouldn't be satisfied with some survey that says that, okay, you're okay with that, right?
That's right.
And, and there's other tests that the same thing. So that's why, you may think that because there's 3 categories they put people in. One is 30% of people are financially literate. They've got enough skills to manage their money and, do pretty good. There's another third that says, you know what, this is too complicated. let someone else do it, or my spouse or partner will do it.
Right.
And then there's another group, another third, that this is the most dangerous one, is the ones that think they know,
Right.
but they don't.
Right.
And the reason why is because you're thinking, like you said, you make money and you're buying stuff, and you're thinking, you might get an RSP, so you think you're doing well,
That's
but
right.
but you're not, right? And during this time of the year with taxes and RSP season and that, there's always some articles, and it really it reinforces that. They'll say things like Canadians don't have an idea of what the difference is between an RSP and a TFSA.
Right.
Right? So it's not enough just to say, yeah, I'm going to get an RSP, but there's so many things with that. Where do I invest that RSP?
Yeah.
Right? When is the right time to take the tax deduction for that? Because I don't have to take it in the year that I make it.
That's right.
Should I start a spousal RSP? So do you see how just having a basic understanding is
Yeah.
not good enough?
That's right.
You need to know more.
Yeah.
And so with the level 1, for example, we call it basic, but I always tell people that our tagline is that if you complete level 1, you're going to know more than the average Canadian does about
Right.
financial literacy.
Right.
Because one of the lessons is on income tax. And the feedback we get from our students is that they learned the most about that. Because
Right.
think about it, income tax is one of those things that I always say it's like, that cousin or that relative that you only want to see once a year.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to see them.
Yeah.
And, you get your taxes done. And then it's like, but people don't want anything to do about it. But think about it. Elliot, your biggest expense is not your mortgage or your rent.
Yeah.
It's your tax bill.
It's your tax bill. That's exactly it, man. That's
And
exactly
I
it.
always tell people, do you know what your marginal tax rate was last year? And they look at you, no, because it's something that we don't talk about.
Right.
So, and you take, one lesson, 2 hours, you're not going to become a tax expert, but you're going to get enough knowledge so that you can ask intelligent questions.
That's right.
So that when you go to either your accountant or your tax preparer, right? They're not going to give you advice on how to save taxes. Their job is really to process that claim, right?
That's right.
Or that return. So you got to have enough, again, just enough knowledge to ask the questions, right? Because at the end of the day, and this is what I tell the students, is that if you don't care about your money, no one else will,
No.
right?
That's right.
Right? And you could be leaving thousands of dollars on the table over the course of your lifetime of taxes just because you've decided that, it's too complicated. I'll just let my tax preparer do it and just leave it, right?
That's right.
So that's why, don't underestimate level 1 when we talk about basics, because I'll get calls from people saying, should I take level 1 or level 2? And I'll say, okay, tell me a little bit about what you know.
Yeah.
And everybody should take level 1 because
right.
you get into things that most people don't know.
That's right. That's right.
And then level 2 is, if I can just talk a little bit about
definitely.
level 2, is what we're trying to do is expand people's knowledge on investments in level 2. And it's not only giving them methods, for example, how to pick stocks or how to invest in real estate, because there's so many methods out there, right? I mean, you can go online and, for real estate, there's hundreds and dozens of ways to do that. Same with stocks. It's only one method. But what we try to do is the first 2 lessons, I get them to talk about and think about their core values and their financial goals. Right? So let me talk a little bit about core values. Core values are, because everybody has, your finances are an emotional thing, right? We don't talk a lot about it, right? With people, it's, but all of us come with values around our money, right?
That's right.
And it comes from the way we were brought up, right? Our parents either teach us good values around money or maybe not too good, right? It comes from the people that we hang around with.
That's right.
Right? Because the people you hang around with, that's how sometimes you start thinking. That's how you're mentored, right? It could be our spouse or our partner, right? That could either lift you up or bring you down, right? And it comes from our personal experiences, right? I've made some bad financial decisions in my lifetime, and we learn from that. But all of those things, what they do is they develop your core values. And I get people to, one of the assignments, because we have assignments in the class
That's good.
too.
Yeah. Okay.
One of the things that we get them to do is to write out their core values. And that's broken down into things like, what's my risk level, right? So if you're the kind of person that you invest in a stock and then you look at the market every day and you can't sleep at night, stocks aren't for you.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Are you the kind of person that's thrifty or luxurious? So what does that mean? When you go on vacation, do you like to stay in 4 and 5-star hotels, or are you okay with 2 and 3-star? Right? Are you the kind of person that looks for what's called delayed gratification? So before you buy something, you want to have the money, or you just get it and put it on credit? Now, none of these things are good or bad.
That's right.
Elliot?
Yeah.
It's your values, right? It's not about judgment, but you need to know those things and you need to articulate them. And most people have never done that.
No.
So the first assignment is to write out your core values. The second assignment is that we get into your goals. What are your financial goals?
Love it. Yeah.
Right? And again, people, Harvard did a study, and it's quoted quite a bit. 87% of people don't have a goal, a financial goal.
That's not surprising to me at all.
10% have a goal, but it's up here. Only 3% of people actually write out their financial goals.
Right.
So what we do is we get the students to actually write out financial goals. And most of them have never done this before, obviously. Right? And it's quite an exercise. So we teach them about the way to write a goal, right? It needs to be specific. It needs to be measurable. It needs to be achievable. It needs to be relevant, and it needs to have a time frame on it. And that's powerful, right? And and then I say, you know what? You're in the top 3% because you've done that assignment.
That's right.
Right? And people don't understand that, because there's some talk about goals, why you do them. But Damon John, who is one of the sharks on the Shark Tank.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
FUBU.
Yeah. Financially successful, obviously.
Yep.
He talks about, they asked him, what does he do every day? You know what he does every day? He writes out his goals.
Right.
And he says, I write them out, my short-term and my medium-term goals, and I read them out loud. And I don't just talk about them. I actually mean it as if I've achieved it.
Right.
So if someone like that, who is now financially successful, has gotten into that type of pattern, imagine for those that are just starting off.
That's right.
Right? So it's kind of funny, because some of my students will come to me and say, I thought you were going to teach me about how to pick stocks. This is more like a psychology class.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what?
It's a good starting point.
What I say is it's true.
Yeah.
It's a financial wellness mentality mindset that we're trying to teach students. And what we do is, Elliot, is try to get individuals to develop habits, because it's not about the knowledge. Like the knowledge, like I said, you can get that anywhere.
That's right.
Right? It's more about developing habits. So one of the assignments that they do every week, both at level 1 and 2, is because financial literacy is about the ability to read for knowledge and interpret financial information.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the assignments it's called Being in Tune with Financial Literacy. We get students to listen or read business news, and then they have to, in a paragraph or two, summarize it.
Yeah.
And then, how does it apply to me? Right? And what I'm trying to do is have them develop a habit of listening, right? Interpreting the financial information, and then what does it mean to me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the students come back to me after and say, wow, this was a great exercise, because they continue to do it after the program.
That's right. Of course.
Right?
Yeah. Once you
It's
get into
that type
habit.
of thing that you want to get them to, to do that. So, that's sort of what we're trying to instill.
Right. Yeah. No, it's good. And it's shocking to me, like what you just said in regards to the goal setting, how people don't do it. If you don't know what, it's the same, I own a marketing company. And when we sit down with a client, we say, well, what would you like to achieve? And they look at me like I'm speaking, like, I don't know, a different language. And like, what are you talking about? I just want you to put some stuff on Facebook for me. I'm like, no. Like, we need to have measurable objectives. Like, we need to know the direction we're going so that we can actually like make a plan to get there. If you don't know where you're going, then we're just going to be making noise. So setting goals in life, especially financially or even personally, like you need to know the direction of where you're trying to go.
Yeah, and again, also the core values, because the core values, it's kind of funny because when I mark these assignments,
Hmm.
I can tell just by someone's core values, because later on in the program when we do case studies on companies and whether you should invest in them or not, I can actually tell you by their core values whether they're going to invest in that company or not.
Right.
Right? And
Right.
again, it's not about trying to change people,
Yeah.
but it may mean that, you know what, I may need to tweak this core value,
That's right.
right? Well,
100%.
most people have never even thought about
Yeah.
that, right?
And then you got to think about like what are your core values? Like you'll be shocked. You just flow through life and you're like, wait a second, if I tweak this, you mean I can get this? And they never really even thought about it before. So
Exactly.
it's just an opportunity for them to like think, reflect, and like you said, potentially tweak certain core values.
Right.
So, all right, you and me can talk all day. I'm fascinated with everything you have to say, but it's only 20 minutes. So there's a segment of the show called the Mac City Minute. It's Tanner's segment. He's going to ask you a few questions. I have no idea what he's going to ask you, so best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tanner, hit him with your questions.
Question number 1. What is your favorite part of working with all levels of employment through your career?
That's a good question. So, again, I like working, I'm in human resources, so we deal with employees, and we deal with employees from all levels, right? From, heavy equipment operators to engineers to research scientists. And it's what's really neat about that is that all of them have some needs that they need to, that they want done. And it's working with those individuals and seeing them accomplish those things, right?
There you go.
Question number 2. Have you ever worked with any maroons?
What's a maroon?
Can you tell me? Can
Somebody
you expand?
who might be putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable?
Oh boy,
Ah,
I know
Tanner.
what you're getting at. So I worked with Tanner's dad
Okay.
in 2000 to 2002 in mining at Syncrude, and I had so much fun with him, and he's such a great guy. But we used to just go back and forth, and we used to say that a lot, putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Question number 3. What is your favorite change in Fort McMurray from when it was a small town into the city it is now?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I came here in the early 80s, so just a very exciting place to be, right? I was just, younger at the time, but I just find all the facilities that we've got and things that we've acquired over the last few years, Mac Island Complex and the theater and things like that. Just, it makes living here really pleasurable. So I think those type of things.
Yeah, no doubt.
Question number 4. What is one piece of financial advice that you have that anyone can apply to their life?
That's a great question. Well, I think the first thing is about self-development. So whenever you invest in yourself, I'll just quickly talk about Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, who's one of the richest individuals in the world, he's considered the best value investor. He was asked, "What's the best investment that you've ever made?" Right? And you would think that he would say something like, I bought this company at a penny and I sold it for $1,000 a share. He said that the best investment I made was in myself. He took a Dale Carnegie course because he was scared of public speaking. And he went out and he was at university at the time and he said, I want to teach. Because before he would teach, he would actually vomit. So he went out and he taught, and that's what developed his skills that enabled him to later on in life talk to CEOs, things like that. So the best investment you can make is in yourself because no one can take that away from you.
Love it.
And your final question, what is the story behind the wet mop heads on the seats of trucks?
Oh man! Well, we're getting into stuff that I should probably not tell because there's certain things that we did night shift that is probably not appropriate to talk about. But we would play a few pranks on each other's, and sometimes we would put wet mop heads on seats under the seat covers so people didn't know, and the person would actually sit on it and. have to come away. And of course, when you're working night shift and there's a wind blowing and you don't got an extra pair of pants, it makes it a bit difficult. But we had some good times with your dad. So
That's
I could go on
hilarious.
for hours about that.
That's been your 5 questions.
That's hilarious.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot, Tanner. Man, those questions.
Yeah, he does some research.
Yeah, you can thank my dad for a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, like I want to talk to you forever, but we're running out of time. Tanner, what are we at?
25 minutes.
Oh, we went way over already. We got to cut it off. So listen, you need to come back again. There's a few other things I would like to chat with you about in regards to like how long you've been in Fort McMurray, the history. My background is human resources, so we could talk about that for hours. And I think you should come back again and again and just talk about financial literacy because it's a big component of life that I think a lot of people are missing. Not just like you said when it started off with immigrants coming in, first-time Canadians, but just Canadians in general. So, but before I let you go today, shameless shout out, please one more time. Tell people who you are, how they can get in contact with you, how they can register for your courses, where they can find all this information.
Sure. So again, the name is Jay Falcone. You can get a hold of me at 780-804-7790. If you have any questions about should I get into level 1 or level 2, we are starting the program here on April 1st and April 6th. Okay. You can go on to the website for the municipality, the Multicultural Association of Wood Buffalo and sign up. It's literally free. It's $25 to register, but we give you all that back when you attend classes.
Oh, right on.
And we're starting the program again. It's at Keano College. We're doing it live. All the social distancing, masks, all that thing. We've already did it in the fall and it worked out well. And invite everyone to come out to that and take on our financial literacy program.
There we go. Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for coming in today. It's been a pleasure. It's been really good.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Sweet. All right. Well, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world, thank you once again for tuning in to the Mac City Morning Show. I've been your host, Elliot Pierre, and once again, thank you. It does mean the world that people keep tuning in and spending some time with us. So, yeah, on that note, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
I said this. That's another Mac City Morning Show done.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.